Hey there viewers, and welcome to Get Well Stay Well on Revelation TV. My name is Cyrus, and as always, absolutely delighted to be joined by Felicity. How are you doing?
Hi there, so I'm fine. I'm in the pink today, as you can see.
Looking lovely in pink, Felicity.
We have a pink juice and we're in the pink, so off we go to Miami today. How about that?
Excellent. Now, what is in today's juice, Felicity?
Well, we've got grenadine. We've got all kinds of lovely things in there and lots of magnesium, because I thought it'd be really good to raise our magnesium levels today. Most people are short of magnesium, you know.
Yeah, it's got a lot to do with it's the symptoms. How do we know we're short of magnesium?
Well, it's headaches and it's cramps and it's tiredness and fatigue, and it's what most people are talking about.
And these energy drinks will help us, will they?
Absolutely,
What have you put in this in this one today?
This is one from LifeWave. I think it's really good. Comes from America, and that's something I found when I was in San Diego. So they keep me going, these wonderful juices.
Excellent. We're going to start off today, Felicity, with a bit of dancing, as we often do on our programme. And why is it important that we're active? Well, we're exercising, we're dancing, we're having fun. Why is that important?
Well, I think the salsa is enormous fun, and it's a great dance to do. My son loves salsa, and they go to wonderful salsa parties. I love the salsa because I love Miami. I trained out in America, as you know, and it's really good fun, lots of movement, and you know, it's exuberance and zest for life, and it's fun. They're actually going to show a little bit in a class, and it's quite fun to be in a dance class. So yeah, let's have a look.
Exactly. So it's not the salsa you might be thinking. It's not the tomato salsa. This is salsa dancing. Let's take a look at this.
For me, salsa transcends languages. You don't need to be fluent in Spanish. You don't need to know how to roll your R's. You just need to know how to roll your hips, and you make friends on the dance floor.
Okay, you think of Miami, you think of Latin music. You think of salsa, you think merengue, you think bachata, you think reggaeton. Salsa is one of the main genres that brings out that Latin culture and feel to the city of Miami. One, two, three. Look at me first. 1, 2, 3.
I follow through and I bring my elbow in. Salsa moves people. Salsa brings people together. The dancers interpret that. So if the dancers want to make it fiery, they can. If they want to make it formal, they can. In my opinion, the best ones adapt that to the music, depending on what is the music saying.
Salsa really loosens you up. The music moves you. Everybody's on the dance floor having a great time. It's like the quintessential Miami moment.
Hi there viewers, and welcome back. Just a bit of salsa, there's salsa dancing in Miami, and it's fantastic. It's so important for us to be active.
Absolutely, it's better than exercise, isn't it? Much more fun than working out in a sweaty gym.
And I like it how they explained it. Dancing is communication without a language.
That's right. You don't have to roll your R's, you roll your hips.
Now, it's important that we do stay active, because obviously we all live very stressful lives, pressurized lives, and that we have a small hobby. We're doing something that we enjoy, and it's in a way, it's a stress relief as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. And if you've got a really stressful job, how good to go to salsa classes, maybe every Tuesday night or something like that. Great fun, great fun.
Am I right in thinking you and my mother once, at one point, were into salsa dancing?
Yes, we didn't actually take photographs of that, though.
What a shame.
We had a lot of fun.
So you think, we've actually got some photos, I'm joking. But it is important that we do stay active and we stay fit, because we always talk about in our programme, we need to be eating the right foods, the vegetables, the juicing and everything else. But we do need to stay active, and that's also what keeps us younger as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's the living enzymes, you know, it's these beautiful juices and the carrots and the apples and the cucumbers and all the beautiful foods that we juice and we blend. and it's getting the living enzymes into the body. And the reason we have to juice or blend is we literally couldn't eat 20 pounds of fresh fruit and vegetables a day.
Yep.
But we've got to get that amount of nutrition in the body to keep the cells working well and regenerating.
Now, something that's always concerns me is our children. It's so important that our children are looked after and our children are living healthy lives as well. Number one is the exercise. How can we get our children to be exercising more? Because they've got all the computers nowadays, in front of the computers, in front of the machines, and they're at home, or they're not as active as maybe you look back before we had all this technology, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. Children used to be out in the street playing. Now they're on the computer, they're on the internet. How can we make our children more active now?
Well, you know, you can get them into these little clubs. It's great fun. They have holiday clubs where they go off, and it's a bit like American camp where the children go off and have a couple of weeks and just have fun with the other children, under supervision, of course.
Yeah.
And, you know, do some new sports like mountaineering, something that they haven't done before. So it's really stretching the boundaries, and it's always good for them to experience something new, fairly safe, but a little bit of fun and a little bit of exercise with it. So it's great to do these things.
And what about our child's nutrition? For example, you look at the child when they come from school, they're hungry, they want a snack. They might have a packet of crisps. That's what they used to. I mean, what is the alternative for that? How can we keep our children eating healthy as well?
Well, so much better to have the pistachio nuts or pecan nuts or walnuts. You know, have lots of these already so that you never get tempted and caught out. So I always greet them home from school with the juices and some nuts and some flaxseed crackers, which they love, and banana ice cream as well in the summer. So that's fun.
Now, how do we differentiate the ideal amount of juicing for our child compared to an adult, shall we say? We say the adults, we need to be juicing throughout the day, several times a day. How about our children? Is there a certain ideal amount of juicing that they should be juicing a day?
Well, they need to have lots of nutrients, so it's great for them to have juices as well. I mean, they obviously have a smaller glass than we have, but just to keep them well hydrated, really important. And they do love it. So it's, you know, and as people get older, they don't have that thirst reflex so much. You don't feel so thirsty, but you are thirsty because even living and breathing and walking, we're using up, you know, this vital nutrient. So we do need to replace the water and the good hydration in the body and keep off all those bad sugar drinks and the caffeinated drinks. Our coffee, of course, the hot coffee, and the cold drinks, the caffeinated drinks that are really bad because they've got a double whammy. They've got aspartame in, they've got the artificial sugars. So anything with diet, you know, you just take off the tea and it's, you know what that's going to make you do. Those drinks, the diet drinks, are full of artificial sugars.
What about our schools where our children are attending? Do you think they're doing enough in order to look after our children with giving them the right nutrition? Is that well controlled?
Well, it depends on the school, obviously. I don't think the government guidelines are particularly good. So we have to really go in and talk to the teachers, say that, you know, we're living a vegetarian or vegan lifestyle with the children, and just say that that is how you want them to be treated. Otherwise, they're going to be given the normal SAD diet, the standard American diet or standard Anglican diet, and, you know, it's not good news. So wrong sugars, fats and salts.
I'd like to move on to the Hippocrates Health Institute, Felicity. We're going to be showing something on that in a moment. Now, you had your experiences there, didn't you?
Yes, I did, and the clip we're going to show is a woman who brought her 5-year-old daughter with her, which is really great. And it's such a wonderful place. You know, the area is great. It's very rural, and we have palms and pine trees and beautiful swimming pools, and it's really beautiful there. And people are accommodated out in the grounds in cottages and little villas. And so you'll be cycling along on your bike or walking through the palms and the pines to your lectures, and there's doctors and nurses there who keep you, you know, on a healthy lifestyle.
It's the environment as well is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, and you have really good lectures. You meet interesting people as well. So everyone's there for a good reason, people from all over the world.
Okay, well, let's take a look at this. This is about the Hippocrates Health Institute.
I'm Jennifer Helene, and I discovered the Hippocrates Health Institute years ago when I was learning about optimal health, getting my master's degree in nutrition. I always wanted to come here, and I finally gave it to myself as a gift. One holiday, and I came with my daughter. She was 5 at the time. And we came, and it was one of the best things I could have ever done, because it cleared up for me a lot of things I wasn't really sure about based on my education. I had learned a lot and experimented a lot internationally, understanding food as medicine, whether it be China, Germany, Switzerland, France, Greece, American, functional medicine. I really studied a lot of different modalities of health and nutrition, and even experimented with my own combinations of all of those. But when I came to Hippocrates, and I lived the Hippocrates way of life, it became so clear to me that this system really works. And I got really clear on why it works. Not only for me, with my own food obsession, it really stopped that. It did something to my brain. It stopped the obsessiveness. It stopped the compulsion to want more. There was all of a sudden this settledness, this quietness, where I was getting fueled with the foods that my body needed. There was no craving for more. And that was amazing to me. I mean, something that I've really struggled with my entire life just got quiet. And the kind of power that got unleashed as a result of that was mind-blowing. I came to Hippocrates because I'm healthy, and I wanted to get healthier. And I knew that this program and this way of living would just push the reset button on my health. And that's exactly what I needed. It was like a little reboost so that I could go back into my daily life and be in alignment without the little things that I was doing. Well, maybe I was eating a little raw chocolate, or maybe I was having some tea with caffeine, or maybe I was having some cooked food occasionally, or maybe I decided, oh, well, maybe meat is a good idea after all. Well, I mean, all of those things were off the table after I could see how amazing I felt. There was literally no inflammation in my body, and the 5 to 10 pounds that I was struggling to shed just melted away without any effort. I would recommend Hippocrates to anybody that I cared about, loved, or know for that fact, because it's not only the incredible food, it's not only the cutting-edge treatments that you can't find anywhere else, but it's an incredible place, and you really have to experience it for yourself. You have to take the time out of your life and invest in yourself and your longevity and your health today to feel the benefits of this place, because it's magic. There's something about just shutting down your day-to-day life, coming here and committing to your health, looking at yourself really clearly and cleaning out from the inside out. And then you see that this glow emerges, this radiant health, this increased immunity. It's incredible.
Hi there, viewers, welcome back. So interesting there about the Hippocrates, and that lady there, she was saying she actually went there healthy. She knew she was healthy, but she just wanted to become more healthier. And quite often on our shows we show testimonies of people who became very ill, and only when they became very ill did they decide it's now time to change. But someone who's already looking after their health and just wants to improve it and increase it even further, that's fantastic, surely.
Absolutely. Prevention is so much easier than cure. So, she's a very bright girl, and she's gone there. She's got a degree in nutrition as well. And it's really when you put it into practice, because you can learn a lot of things as theory, but it's when you actually put it into practice and you live that lifestyle.
That's what she mentioned there, is about the Hippocrates way of life. What is the Hippocrates way of life?
Well, it's a very natural way of life. It's very calm. It's a sanctuary, I would say. It's a sanctuary where people can go, and even if they spend only 1 week, or maybe they do 3 weeks, which is the normal thing to change your lifestyle, because sometimes you need to practice things for 3 weeks before they become second nature, And I think she trained as an educator there, which is what I did. So I was there nearly 5 months. And it really does become your way of life, and you don't ever want to go back. And we have to We have to change our way of thinking, really. So as the Bible in Romans 12:2 says, don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. And that's really what you do when you're in an environment like that, because you're getting the right lectures as well. You're meeting really interesting people from around the world. And of course, it's very science-based. So I chose that one. There's masses of these different institutes, but I chose Hippocrates because I thought it was the most science-based and really enjoyed it. I went for 1 week to see what it was going to be like. And then I signed on. I couldn't wait to sign on, having done 1 week.
I'm sure many of our viewers are saying, is there nothing like that in Europe? Why is it all, everything seems to be in the States?
Well, I would love to create this in Europe. That's what I'm hoping to do, you know, to get a healing sanctuary place, especially from the Christian perspective. It would be wonderful to have that. But so far, we haven't been able to do it. Of course, it costs an awful lot of money.
Yeah.
And as we know, the money in health is all made from the chemicals and the pharmaceuticals. There's not a lot of health in promoting, not a lot of wealth in promoting good health.
And yet here we're saying from the Hippocrates, we're saying food is our medicine, isn't it?
Absolutely. The food is our medicine and the medicine is our food. So, you know, as Dr. Mark Hyman says, dinner is a date with the doctor, really. And so when I choose my food now for the day, you know, I think, what do I need? Do I need magnesium in my body? In which case I'll have some beautiful spinach and some beautiful green plants, depending on what my body needs. And what we need to do is build the immune system. And the only way we can do that is with the living foods. The dead, you know, the chemical foods, the ordinary processed foods are absolutely dead. They may taste delicious, they may fill us up, like pasta does, for instance. That's wheat. You know, it's wheat and water. We know when we mix flour and water, it makes a glue. So we're, in fact, gluing up our intestines.
Yeah.
But how many people have been told pasta was quite a healthy food?
Exactly. Okay, just moving on, Felicity, we recently had an email from one of our viewers asking us about wheatgrass. They wanted more information about it, saying, how often should I use wheatgrass and what is the ideal and safe amount to use? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, well, 3 times a day, certainly, on an empty tummy in the morning, again before lunch, and again before supper in the evening. So 3 times a day with the real, raw, juiced wheatgrass, if people can do that. Otherwise, the powdered one is very good. And if people don't like the taste, there are capsules as well, that you can take wheatgrass capsules.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's a complete food. It gives you all the minerals, all the vitamins, all the amino acids.
Okay, well, have you ever wondered how to grow wheatgrass? Well, take a look at this. This is how to grow wheatgrass at home. Very easy.
All right, so once the soil is wet, nice and wet, it should stay in its place. Then you will pour your seeds in. So that's a little bit more than half a cup, but let's see how much we need. So soaking your seed first is recommended. That way you can rinse your seeds clean, and also it gives it a kickstart. But I'm not soaking it in this video. So you want to put like a really nice layer of seeds at the top. It's fine if the seeds are laying on top of each other. I want my seed, when they sprout, I want it nice and thick, so I'm just going to cover the surface of the soil. When you soak these, they would literally double in size when they drain a lot of water. Alright, so there you go. That's all we'll do. That's a little less than half a cup because the container is really small. Then next, what you want to do is you want to cover these seeds up with a really thin layer of soil. Just cover all that just so that you can hide the seeds. All right. That's about all you need. Then you want to give it a nice spray of water. Just wet everything. And it's fine if you have a lot of water now because these are still seeds, so they're fine. Just give them a ton of water. And in less than in probably a week or so, you have really nice tall sprouts that you can.
Welcome back. Just takes about a week to grow. Is that right, Felicity?
About 11 days. It depends on the weather. But you can also grow it indoors. You can grow it hydroponically with water, without the soil. And there's that fresh live sprouter thing that I show people when they come on the courses. So they can grow it in that as well. Excellent. And the thing is, you have several lots growing at different times, so that, you know, there's always a new lot coming along. And when you cut the wheatgrass, you cut it at the very moment it joints. It starts, the big leaf starts just spreading a little daughter leaf off the side, and that's the absolutely optimum moment to cut the grass. So then you cut it all, you put it in a green bag, you keep it in the fridge, and it'll last for a week like that.
And where can we obtain the wheatgrass seeds in Europe and in the UK, Felicity?
Just from a good grower. You want to make sure that they're fairly fresh, because sometimes they've had the seeds there a long time. But the winter wheat berry is the very best. And you'll find that it's very easy to grow. It's really foolproof.
And what are the differences between the fresh wheatgrass that we've just seen there that we grow and also the wheatgrass powder? Is there a big difference?
Well, that's been spray dried. You know, it's the best thing you can do if you can't actually grow the wheatgrass yourself. So, and sometimes you can have the other things added to it like chlorella and spirulina, which are also very good indeed. So some of the super green foods, as they call them, are very good. And as I said, it's got all the amino acids in it so that it will make the perfect protein.
Yeah.
And you know, when people say, oh, where are you getting your protein from on the start? You say, I'm getting the best protein in the world. It's phytonutrient protein instead of animal protein.
And you just need a little, pretty much a teaspoon of that, especially if you're doing your juicing, just add a teaspoon of wheatgrass in there.
Yes, that's about right, yes. Because it tastes quite strong, the wheatgrass. And of course, when you're there and you're growing it yourself, you're growing your own wheatgrass at a place like Hippocrates. So you get the taste of it fairly quickly. And it knocks you back, you know. You're talking about a shot of wheatgrass. It's like having a shot of an amazing sort of stimulant. Yeah. And the oxygen in it really knocks you back. It's terrific stuff. And when you get to like the taste of it, then it's a joy because it'll keep you well.
Now, wheatgrass isn't the only thing that we can be growing at home, isn't it? Because you think, oh, I need a big garden, I need an allotment or something like that. But pretty much if we want to grow our own fruits and vegetables, we can do that on our own terrace, a little balcony, or sometimes even indoors.
Yes, absolutely. And it's always best to grow your own things because then you know what's been sprayed on them, and you can keep them as clean as possible. So I have a terrace which I love to grow my things on, and the children love to come and water them and spray them. They have great fun, you can imagine, with the water sprayer, which goes all over the place. Yeah. But it's fun because they're enjoying it and they're seeing the grass grow every day, you know. Wonderful.
It's just a fantastic way of getting the children interested in health and nutrition and eating the right foods, especially if they're involved in the process from the very beginning of watching and planting the seeds and watching it grow. Very exciting for a child, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's absolutely wonderful to see these little seeds popping up, you know, with the little tender shoots and then growing into this grass. And it's so quick. It's 11 days. Yeah. So it's a perfect thing for them to really start with and grow.
What sort of things do you grow at your house?
Well, you can do tomatoes. I haven't got a big garden now. I've got a terrace. So what I'm getting is those tower gardens, you know, which they have the little holes all the way up, and you put different little plants in. So you can have tomatoes. Tomatoes are easy. Yeah. Tomatoes, cucumbers, beans, strawberries. But it's great fun to grow your own. It really is.
There's really no excuse, is there, Felicity? We should be growing our own fruits and vegetables.
We should.
I'm just going to read a couple of the emails that we've had previously from our viewers, saying, does hemp seed oil cure skin cancer?
Well, you know, hemp seed oil has got a wonderful record of healing, And certainly it can be used. You know, we've all heard about marijuana and the dangers of smoking, that sort of thing. So obviously that's not what you're going to be doing. But the actual hemp is a beautiful plant. And I talked with Ty Bollinger when he was over in Europe this summer. We did an interview, and he's very, very keen on people with cancer using hemp. And you can make hemp cakes, you can make little hemp seed goodies to eat.
Right.
And so there's a lot you can do. You can
Give us an
wear.
idea. What about the hemp cakes? How do you make that?
Well, you just make those with the natural hemp seeds, which you put together. There's a recipe in my recipe book.
Yeah.
But we were all laughing, of course, and saying, "Are we going to get high when we're making these cakes?" So, and also one of the girls was wearing hemp trousers. So that was new for me. I didn't realize that you made a beautiful fabric from hemp.
Yeah.
And she's a Canadian girl and is now actually selling those on her website. So there's no end to the natural things that you learn at Hippocrates. It's amazing.
Other viewers have been emailing in over the last week or so. Can I use coconut oil for my skin? And I'd like to use it as a deodorant. Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's an antibacterial, it's an antifungal, it's an antiviral, so it's really good on the skin. And as for a deodorant, of course, it's really good because it's the stale sweat that's got bacteria in it that causes the odor. And so as it's antibacterial, of course, it will stop odor completely. And coconut oil is wonderful. It's a really good moisturizer.
There are so many benefits of coconut oil. It's just endless, isn't it?
It's very healing on a wound, you know, as well. Really good. And the skin heals without a scar. It's really interesting.
Okay,
yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, well, let's move on. We're going to be talking about magnesium next. We're saying, what are the warning signs of magnesium deficiency? Let's take a look.
Hey guys, Dr. Axe here, founder of draxe.com. Today I'm going to share with you 8 warning signs that you have magnesium deficiency. And there are many symptoms of magnesium deficiency that a lot of people have. And so think about this. There is a good chance that you have a health condition, and if you just got more magnesium in your diet, it could be gone for good. There are people suffering with 8 common conditions that if you just get more magnesium in your diet, it is going to transform your health forever. And according to recent research, 80% of Americans are magnesium deficient. So you've got to get more magnesium in your diet, or at least 80% of people do. And the first warning sign that you are magnesium deficient is that if you have any form of a headache, whether it's a tension headache or a migraine headache, that's a big warning sign. And one of the reasons is magnesium really helps in relaxing muscles. It helps with overall cellular function. And so again, magnesium is critical. If you have a headache, any type of headache at all, consider getting more magnesium foods in your diet or taking a magnesium supplement. And at the end, I'll share with you more about magnesium foods and supplements. The number 2 sign that you have a magnesium deficiency is if you get muscle cramps. Now, a lot of times people think that's potassium, and it can be, but it's also magnesium. And so again, if you are an athlete, or let's say you're laying in bed at night and you ever get muscle cramps, if you struggle with muscle cramps on a regular basis, you are magnesium deficient. And you really want to work on increasing both potassium intake and magnesium intake if you get muscle cramps. The third warning sign that you're magnesium deficient is if you have osteoporosis or osteopenia or any type of weak muscles or weak bones, or you get injured easily. You know, magnesium is a major building block of your muscle. And listen to this, a lot of people will go and take a calcium supplement without taking magnesium for your body to even use calcium. You have to have magnesium. So again, magnesium, it's critical for building strong bones. So it's essential that children are getting magnesium-rich foods. Adults, especially aging women, are getting magnesium foods and supplements on a regular basis. The fourth warning sign that you are magnesium deficient is if you have diabetes or imbalanced blood sugar. If you tend to eat something and then afterwards you get very tired. In fact, if you're one of those people that hits the sort of 2 o'clock coma at work after lunch, that's a big warning sign that you're magnesium deficient. So again, if you have diabetes or you have low energy levels or even have adrenal fatigue, those are warning signs that you're not getting enough magnesium in your diet. And the reason is magnesium is a critical mineral for improving glucose absorption and really balancing out your blood sugar, you really have to have magnesium for cellular function. The fifth warning sign, you may have high blood pressure. So blood pressure issues, if you have high blood pressure on a blood pressure medication, magnesium has been shown to be one of the best natural remedies to naturally lower or balance out your blood pressure. The sixth warning sign you have a magnesium deficiency is if you struggle with insomnia or not being able to sleep at night. And that includes both not being able to fall asleep or stay asleep during the night or even waking up early on a consistent basis. You need magnesium for that. And if you do struggle with that, the best time to take magnesium is with dinner or right before bed in the evening. The seventh warning sign you are magnesium deficient is if you struggle with anxiety and depression. In fact, magnesium has been shown to help calm the body, the muscles, and help improve mood. It is a vital mineral for overall mood. In fact, one of the things that I've recommended to patients over time with anxiety is taking magnesium on a daily basis, and they've seen great results. And last but not least would be muscle pain. That's a sign that you're magnesium deficient as well. And things like fibromyalgia, so muscle pain, fibromyalgia, those are warning signs. And the reason is magnesium, even within minutes of taking it, it can start to relax your muscles. This is also why it helps with migraine.
Hi there, viewers, and welcome back. Just the warning signs. Sometimes our body gives off these warning signs, don't they, Felicity? And sometimes we just take things for granted, or we just don't realise, and we need to be more alert. Now, some of the items there for if we're magnesium deficiency, should we just go through them?
Yes, good idea.
First of all, headaches.
Yes, because a lot of people are getting headaches and they don't know why. They take an aspirin, and of course that's not going to do any good to stop the cause of the headache. You know, with this natural sort of health educator way of life, we want to look at the cause.
Yeah.
And if it's a magnesium deficiency, someone might not know for ages. So the thing is, you must be tested. You must go and have a test with a naturopath, somebody who knows what they're doing, and we'll test the magnesium, because it's not necessarily the magnesium in the blood. That may look all right. It's the magnesium in the tissue. So there's a special test called a spectra cell test, spectra cell, and that will actually show how much magnesium there is in the tissue. So that's a really interesting thing. And
which foods contain the most magnesium, Felicity?
It's the green leafy vegetables. So we want to go with the green juices, of course, and then spinach. I love spinach. You see, a magnesium-rich supper would be some spinach, just wilted down, and a beautiful poached egg on the top.
Yeah.
So you're getting lots of beautiful magnesium in that. I think eggs are good. I mean, I don't like animal protein, but an egg is, I think, quite good from time to time.
What about fish?
Well, fish used to be one of my favorites, but when I did the science on the fish, we discover now there's so much mercury, there's so much hidden heavy metals in the fish. And they do say that in 30 to 40 years' time, there won't be any fish left in the sea, because the boy fish are now getting feminized by the estrogens. You know, there's estrogens from the plastic that's in the sea.
Yes.
And so make the most of the fish while we have it. But it is animal protein.
Is fish safe for us to be eating, regardless of all the pollution and chemicals and everything else that's in the sea with the fish? Well,
it depends. If it's farmed, of course, it's been given a lot of chemicals. You know, the smoked salmon and the pink colouring that's put in is a carcinogen. We have to be aware of these things.
Right.
And, be very selective as to what you do take in. When I was living in Portugal, we used to eat the sardines because they're coming right off the Atlantic, and hopefully there's not too much pollution there. They tasted wonderful. They were huge sardines. But the Mediterranean is an interior sea, of course, so it's not quite as fresh as the Atlantic. The Pacific is now very contaminated, and when I did my Get Well course around the world, went across the Pacific Ocean, which was fascinating, visiting all those wonderful little islands. But my goodness me, there's this great big collection of the plastic bottles in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, where they've all just congregated.
Wow.
And of course they are plasticizing
My
the fish.
goodness. Yeah, for sure.
So the fish are getting a lot of xenoestrogens. And of course, you and I know that when we drink out of a plastic bottle,
Yes.
you know, we are getting a load of bisphenol A, it's
Yes.
called. So really, we want to have glass bottles, glass water.
Because the point is, we don't know where maybe the plastic bottles of water have been left out in the sun.
Absolutely.
Now that's also very dangerous, isn't it? Plastic
Yeah.
with the sun.
So
Right.
always go for glass water bottles and glass jugs.
Right.
Much healthier.
What about supplements for magnesium? Are we safe to be taking those supplements?
Well, the best one is a chelated one or a liquid magnesium. You can get these because actually eating rocks is not, they're not going to be assimilated into the body. For people who are blocked up in their gut, then they need magnesium citrate, which is very good, like the milk of magnesia, and that will make the body flow again, get back into the right way. So interesting to get the magnesium into the body. Also, I use magnesium oil, which I think is wonderful.
Right.
So when I've had a bath, I can have an Epsom salts bath, which again is giving me magnesium, and afterwards put the magnesium oil. And I got mine when we were in Israel last time. So a big bottle of magnesium oil, which is the beautiful, the salts from the Dead Sea.
Right. Okay.
And it smells terrific. It's absolutely
where
gorgeous.
Where can we obtain magnesium oil?
Well, again, if they go on the internet and have a look and see if you can get one from Israel, because we want to back Israel anyway.
Now, regarding the supplements, do we need to be aware of not taking too many supplements, or are we free to be taking them regularly, or is there a time period that we can be taking supplements?
Well, I think it's a good idea for everybody now to be taking supplements, and I used not to think that, but since I've discovered that the soil is now so deficient, even if we're having organic fruit and vegetables, we're still short on the good minerals in the soil. So I think we do need to take a supplement now. And, you know, Philip Day, who I love, I think he's absolutely great, saved my life with his book, Cancer, Why We're Still Dying to Know the Truth. And Philip has researched and got some good quality product. So my website actually is affiliated to Philip's because he's done all this work, and there's no point in reinventing the wheel. And I respect Philip totally with his research and integrity. So that's a good way to get the supplements. But be careful where you get the supplements, and always go for very pure ones.
Mm-hmm. Now, I just want to touch on exercise. Exercise is so important, really, isn't it? We're going to be showing a clip very soon about how we can build our back, do exercise on our back, but it's important that we do overall exercise as well, isn't it? All over our body.
Well, it is. You've got to do 3 different types of exercise. You've got to do the cardiovascular, where you're exercising the heart muscle, and you've got to do the weight-bearing exercise, and you've got to do the flexibility exercise. So really, it's a matter of doing these coordinated exercises. But to keep our back and our core straight, you know, people do Pilates, which is extremely good in keeping the core strong, because you don't want to be slumping as you get older. You want to try and keep as upright as you can. Then your lungs and your heart have the room to work properly. And so we've got Buff Dudes, who's a great big guy, and actually those exercises are really good.
Okay, well, let's take a look at this. This is Buff Dudes, and he's talking about doing the back exercises.
All right, dudes, here it is. We got a lot of requests for this one. It's gonna be the 3 easy tips to building that bigger back, or in the Buff Dudes case, posterior shield. So the wait is over. Let's get started. Tip number 1 is going to be shoulder movement. Now, what I'm talking about here is contracting the shoulder back to really get contraction in the actual lats rather than just doing arm movements. So what you want to do is make sure you're pulling that shoulder back. So you're contracting those muscles in the upper back, the traps, the rhomboids, the lats. You're going to contract that shoulder first and then follow through with the arm, pulling your elbow up, getting that nice contraction in the lats. and then release that shoulder and bring it down to bottom stretch position. And this goes in line with pull-ups as well. You always want to contract that shoulders down and back to properly involve all the muscles that you should be to help develop that back properly. Make sure you're not just doing arm pulls, which is really just going to work the biceps, and you're not going to feel anything in the back itself. So remember, dudes, contract those shoulders back and get full activation in those lats. Tip number 2, it's going to be elbow placement, or the differences between elbow placement. So let's say, for instance, you're going to do a close grip row, which your elbows are tracking right in line with the body and close to the body. So you're doing a seated close grip row, bringing those elbows nice and tight to the body. You're going to be working a little bit more on those lats in general. But let's say you're doing a wide grip row and the elbows are flaring outside the body. You're going to be incorporating a little bit more of the upper back muscles. So what you got to do is make sure you hit all those angles. Incorporate exercises which do close grip rows or having the elbow run a little bit tighter to the body, and then also incorporate a little bit wider grip rows, so that way those elbows are flaring out and you're getting the full benefit of the exercises with the upper back and also the lats too. Eccentric contraction. What is it? Well, it's going to be the negative portion of the lift. So let's say, for instance, you're doing a pull-up, you contract all the proper muscles, bringing those shoulders down and back, elbows in the back pocket, up to the top position, chin above the bar, but then you just let gravity take over and your body drops down to the bottom position. You're only really getting half of the exercise. Because let's just say you're doing a bent over row now, and you're bringing it up, contracting those lats, and then just letting it drop. So what you want to do is contract it up and then contract it back down. So that is the concentric contraction, or the positive of the lift, bringing it up. But we're talking about the eccentric contraction, which is the negative on the way down. So your muscles are actually having to contract to bring you down to the bottom position. So remember that, dudes, because that's really gonna help you out building that massive amounts of muscle and becoming buff. So you get that positive portion of the lift, and you also get the negative portion, or the eccentric contraction. So don't forget that word, because it's definitely gonna come in handy. All right, dudes, that wraps up the 3 easy tips for building that posterior shield. Really try to include these tips in your back workouts, because they're...
Hi there, viewers, and welcome back. It is so important that we exercise, and obviously do different types of exercise as often as we can, isn't it?
Absolutely, and for the little old ladies like me out there, it's really important to do these exercises, because you can lose that muscle tone so quickly. And you know, we really have to keep ourselves strong, we have to keep ourselves independent, so that we can look after ourselves properly and work that juicer. Because that's quite a workout for the biceps, isn't it? We're pushing the carrots down, you know?
Indeed, indeed. Now, just a simple exercise, if some of our viewers may be watching today and they haven't exercised maybe in the last few years, but just simply starting to go out and walk, that's surely a great start, and then maybe build it up to jogging and then running. But at least to start somewhere, isn't it, Felicity?
Oh yes, definitely, and always get out and walk, because you're in the fresh air as well, which is so much better than being in a sweaty gym or inside. And I think it's really important to, you know, use those resistance bands as well, because then you're not going to hurt yourself with them. You know, little old ladies like me don't have these big weights like the buff dude there. But I can do pretty well with my resistance bands, using the weight of the body against itself, and much healthier and easier to do.
Excellent.
Less expensive too.
As a family, it's also important. It's a way of building the family and keeping them together as well. If they all go and do some exercise together, now we talk about exercise and walking or running and even cycling. It's just another way of keeping the family together at the same time.
Absolutely, I think it's wonderful, and cycling is great fun. We did plenty of cycling at Hippocrates Health Institute, and it's great. Not on the mountains where I am, though. Yeah. Not a good idea. Not a good idea.
You can cycle down the hill and then get a taxi back up.
My goodness me, what a thought. What a thought. Those triathletes are staggering up there, you know, in the heat. That's amazing. They look so fit. Not an ounce of fat on them, these guys. But and a friend of mine does it. A friend of mine who lives near me up there. I'm just amazed. She cycles all the way up she's determined to keep doing
amazing.
it.
That's incredible.
It is good.
Very, very,
very good for the heart and lungs.
What does that do to our mind as well when we say we need to stay positive as well with our mental strength? And we go through different circumstances in our lives, whether it be financial or health problems or any issues. But for us, our mind to stay positive, it's also important to be exercising as well.
Yes, I think so. And it's important to reach targets. And I say to people who are not very well, you know, even if you get out of bed and you make the bed, for people who are stuck in bed for, you know, many weeks or months when they're recovering from a disease or an operation, the thing is to make little goals for yourself that you can reach, and that feeling of satisfaction makes you feel that you're coming back in charge.
Yeah.
And you want to always stay independent and you know, read your Bible, stick with the Word of God, don't look for other answers, but it's just you and God. And you see the wake-up call in the body of, like, when we have the headache with magnesium deficiency,
Yes.
or the cramps or whatever these problems are. It's all a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And the body is saying, look, you're doing something wrong. Please think this out. And therefore we can address the cause of disease.
I mean, like you've just mentioned there about the magnesium deficiency, and it's our bodies are giving us a sign, some of the items there, to know if you're magnesium deficient. You've got muscle cramps, you've got weak bones, you're easily injured, diabetes, you eat and then you're very tired, you have low energy, high blood pressure, not falling asleep well enough at night. That's also something that maybe many people having problems are thinking, oh, that's just me, that's no problem, that's no big deal. But it's all got a reason behind it, isn't it? And that could be magnesium deficiency.
Absolutely. I would say magnesium and B12 are two things that people should really address and make sure they're not short of either of those two.
And also something as well that was mentioned about magnesium deficiency is someone who is anxious, suffers from anxiety and also depression.
Absolutely. So niacinamide is the one for that. The vitamin B3, wonderful, and also cashew nuts, of course, which are really good for that.
Okay. Well, let's play our last clip for today. This is how to make delicious raw brownies.
So all we need is medjool dates, and unfortunately they really do have to be medjool dates, because medjool dates are the ones that are really gooey and sticky and they're very sweet. If you get those kind of dry dates that they sell, they're not going to hold it together, so unfortunately it won't work. Then we need nuts. I like using pecans in these because they have that kind of caramel-like flavor that goes well with the whole brownie thing, but almonds are really good too. Walnuts work, I mean any nut works. And then raw cacao powder, which is the unrefined version of cocoa, so it's much stronger. Again, if you only have cocoa, you can use that too, but you will really have to increase the quantities. And then a little bit of sweetener. As I said, this is optional. I like to use maple syrup. Again, with this one, just check that it's 100% maple syrup instead of like 10% maple syrup, 90% funny additives and things. And that's honestly it. It's that easy, and it takes like 3 minutes to put together. I normally end up eating most of the recipes straight out of the food processor, but technically you're meant to freeze them for an hour and then they actually form brownies. Cool, so to start with, we're just gonna measure up 1 cup of our pecans. And this is cool because the thing is with so many, you know, snacks that you buy, you need a sugar craving, which we all get, but then they don't really give you energy, whereas these will do everything for your sugar craving and give you really awesome energy because they've got really good plant protein in from the nuts. Yeah, so you just want 1 cup. Again, it doesn't matter what kind of cup you're using, as long as you use the same cup to measure out everything. So we're just going to pour these in the food processor. And we then pulse them on their own for, I don't know, 10-20 seconds, just because they then blend better with the dates afterwards if they're already a little bit crushed. They actually start to smell so good when you do this. They honestly smell like caramel. And yeah, so now they should look like this. So they're crushed, but they're not, you know, flour or anything. And then we're gonna add 2 cups of dates. Now I've already pitted mine because you don't want to watch me pit 2 cups of dates, but you want to measure out 2 cups of medjool dates, and you want to take out the stone in the middle and this little sort of cap thing. that's on the top. If these stay on, it's not the end of the world, but the stone is not good for your food processor and it doesn't taste that good. And then on top of that, we want to add 2 to 3 tablespoons of cacao. And to be honest, that's really dependent on your personal preferences. If you're a huge fan of like really, really dark chocolate, then you may even want 4. If you kind of prefer things a lot milder, then 2 is perfect. Kind of like 3. And then you want to add a tablespoon or 2 of your sweetener if you're going to use it. And then we're literally just going to blend that again for a minute or 2 until it becomes really, really sticky.
Absolutely delicious, and welcome back. Wow. We were just saying, Felicity White, you should have brought a plate of that to the show today.
I know I should. I couldn't find medjool dates. You have to have those medjool dates. But I shall make them for the grandchildren, definitely.
Absolutely delicious. Now, the summer is approaching, the summer is here. We want delicious summer recipes, Felicity. What can we prepare? We've got the family coming over for some lunch or some dinner.
Right.
What healthy summer recipes
well,
are there?
Well, there you go, with the hummus, with the gazpacho, with the guacamole, all my favourite things. Love them, all with fresh things. Now, I've just had an email from Dennis, and he's saying that his kitchen is full of ants. What does he do? And I have found
he's got an ant in his kitchen.
He's got ants in his pants, probably, yes, as well. But anyway, what we do is boracic acid, which you can get in powder form. If you mix it with a little bit of sugar as well, the ants will all come to eat it. They take it back to their little ant's nest, and that's the last you'll see of the ants. This is absolutely wonderful.
And where can we get that from? Boracic acid?
Boracic powder, yes, it's just a powder. It's very good, actually, for the skin if you have something that needs to be dried up and healed. So boracic powder is really good and wonderful for the ants. So there you are, Dennis. I promise you that's the last you'll see of the ants. You can also use it in the garden as well, because I think Dennis is growing vegetables. Yeah. And it's absolutely devastating when you come and find that your beautiful lettuce or whatever you're growing is being devoured by some small animal there. So there you go, that's a good one.
Brilliant, Felicity. Now, we just showed that clip there on the recipes of making some raw brownies. We are blessed with the internet that we have today, with all the videos that we can go and see the recipes, give us some fantastic new ideas, and we can do our own experimentation as well, try different ingredients at the same time.
Yeah, you see, Deliciously Ella was really quite ill herself, and you know, had this loss of blood pressure every time she stood up and had to really get herself well. So she's turned it to good by starting the Deliciously Ella program and putting things together like those brownies. Wonderful.
Something that my own daughter absolutely loves is watching young children doing the recipes and with all the juicing recipes and cooking healthy foods and stuff like that. And that kind of puts them in the right frame of mind and think, oh, that looks exciting, that looks interesting, let's do that. And that's just another way of getting our children involved as well.
It's a good idea. And also I get them to do the washing up afterwards, and they think that's quite fun as well, because you can make the washing up pretty messy and pretty bubbly, but it's great to get them doing all these things.
Now, some of our viewers might be thinking, I'm going to be looking to go to raw vegan. Is that going to be interesting for me to be just juicing all the time? How can we make that interesting, or is it already interesting, Felicity?
It's absolutely fascinating, and there are so many wonderful websites out there done by usually these girls. Also, there's some raw food chefs as well, the guys who are really good, and masses of wonderful recipes out there. I usually put the best one that I like at the time on my newsletter, because my newsletter comes out on the 1st of each month.
And what is your website, Felicity? Just remind our viewers.
It's felicitycorbinwheeler.org, and people can also contact me on felicitycorbinwheeler@gmail.com, and I will reply. I can't always reply immediately within a day or two, because I do get a lot of emails. But I love to be in touch with people, and I pray for people when they're not well. And it's a ministry, isn't it?
Okay, Felicity, we have come towards the end of today's programme. As every week, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great.
Okay, thank you also to our viewers. Just want to remind you we have a catch-up service on our website. It's on revelationtv.com. We just want to encourage you to stay positive, keep God in your life, eat healthy, do exercise, and have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you same time next week. God bless. Bye.